Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS producer Sydney Bowles, BNEWS reporters Robert Paris and Chris Flaherty, Juliana McGrain with BNEWS Sports, Gretchen Carey with the community calendar, and Peter Brown with the weather. Thank you for joining us. Burlington went to the polls this week in the national presidential election, and Donald Trump won the election nationwide. Massachusetts went blue, supporting Vice President Kamala Harris by about 61%. Here in Burlington, voters were mainly in line with the state vote, with 56% of votes going for the Democrat, and Burlingtonians were in line with the state vote on all but one of Massachusetts' 5 ballot initiatives. Massachusetts and Burlington both voted in favor of allowing the state auditor to audit the legislature, and both voted to eliminate MCAS as a graduation requirement. On question 3, Burlington said no, do not allow Uber and Lyft drivers to form unions, while the state overall said yes. Questions 4 and 5 on whether to decriminalize some psychedelics and whether to increase the minimum wage for tipped workers both failed. About 14,000 Burlington residents, or 79% of voters, turned out this election. The Burlington Conservation Department is looking to change the way it handles stormwater rules and regulations. Right now, everything related to stormwater permitting is written in the bylaws, which means even the tiniest changes need to go before the town meeting. The department is hoping to move some of its bylaws into a set of regulations, which would be easier to change at the commission and subcommittee level. Conservation Administrator Eileen Coleman said it's been a long time in the making.
This is something that we have been thinking about for several years. I've been in the position of being Assistant Conservation Administrator and the Stormwater Coordinator for 7 years in town, and I know that I've wanted to create regulations. I know that I've seen drafts in our folders from years and years ago. I know that Larry wanted to create regulations. It's just something that we knew was going to be a somewhat time-consuming process. I'll be honest, we took advantage of the fact that John Keeley was retiring and he was going to stay on as a consultant with us, and that was his first consultant project. Was you take all the hours that it's going to take to actually slice these things apart.
Some select board members worried the changes would make it easier for the Conservation Commission to make big changes without the approval of the rest of town government. But Coleman said there was a rigorous process to make sure regulation changes would be transparent and fair. Of course, in order for the change to be made, it would have to be a town meeting involved in the process. Coleman will need approval from town meeting for that. The conservation continues, or the conversation continues over whether or not to seek debt exclusions for Burlington's big capital projects, the new police station and the new Fox Hill School. Town meeting voted to fund both projects, and Ways and Means approved of that choice, and they say shifting that debt out of the general budget would be a healthy move for the town. Here's Ways and Means Vice Chair Ed Parsons.
I want to admit that what we're doing is quite unusual. And just, Mrs. Colley, to take your healthy budget analogy one step forward, typically towns will wait until they're unhealthy and then they'll go to the doctor for a dose of antibiotic. We're asking our town to take some vitamins ahead of time, and that's usually not done. Usually these are very reactive, and the reason why we're doing it is because we have a tradition and a history of being very fiscally responsible, and we want to continue that, and we want to have the same headroom that we've enjoyed in the past. And because we have big plans, and the Burlington High School project really looms large. We know that that's going to be a debt exclusion, and so we may go ahead with this, we may not. We may pass it, we may not. What's really important is that we have the conversation, and a longer conversation may be a good thing rather than a bad thing, because we need to get a lot of ideas out, we need to educate a lot of people, because we're certainly going to have to make this decision in the near future with regards to the high school project.
Speaking of the police station, plans are taking shape to relocate the entire force for about 2 years while a new building is constructed on the site of the current one. The police station will temporarily relocate to the decommissioned Vinebrook water treatment plant, and it's going to take some real creativity to make that building work in an entirely new way. The architectural team plans to construct offices, interview rooms, briefing rooms, a break room, a 911 center, gear rooms, and a secure main lobby, all using cheap construction materials that aren't designed to last. Officers will need to go without lockers, a firing range, a gym, or a sally port for the duration of their stay at Vinebrook. The plan is newly considered part of the floodplain, which means that there are limited ways to keep using the building in the future. Tensions were certainly high this week nationally and in Burlington, but thankfully the police department had some stress-relieving news. The BPD grew by one very small new officer. Zuko, a purebred chocolate lab, has joined the force as a search and rescue canine in training. Chief Thomas Brown explained the decision to hire this tiny officer.
If you look back over our not too distant past here, we've had some incidents where a search and rescue dog could have been very beneficial. And one of them is, as you probably all remember, a person who had gone into the woods one cold winter night, and unfortunately we were not able to find her till the next morning. But we have plenty of children and adults in town with mental health disorders, autism, some of the elderly who have walked away from different places, and a search and rescue dog makes sense at this point in time.
Officer Aris Medico will train and supervise the new recruits. The hope is to cross-train Zuko as a therapy dog also. It's safe to say he's already winning hearts around town.
Do you have any questions for anybody? Go ahead. You want to start, Sarah? Any questions?
No questions. Happy to bring Zuko on board. And just wanted to say I appreciate your work in seeking out these grants and these creative ways of
Walk around the table.
supporting and serving the community.
There you go. He's always doing a search.
So yeah, no questions. Welcome aboard, Zuko.
Thank you.
You can follow Zuko on Instagram at @officer_Zuko. His tagline, aspiring search and rescue canine. In further public safety news, the Burlington Police Department has been furthering their commitment to school safety. Let's turn to Chris Flaherty for the story.
School safety is a top priority for local law enforcement around the nation, and Burlington Police Department is no exception.
So we've really taken a proactive approach in learning best practices in how best to prepare and respond for what would be a terrible tragedy, and we try to take those lessons and better adapt what we do to the needs of the community.
October 24th through the 25th, the Burlington Police Department hosted the Northeast School Safety Summit at the Cafe Escadrille in partnership with the organization Safe and Sound Schools.
Safe and Sound Schools is a nonprofit school safety organization, so we serve nationally in schools and communities and now in Canada and internationally as well. Our mission is to help and support our school communities in crisis prevention, response, and recovery. Today's about bringing people together, so you see in this room folks from all of the different disciplines, as we call them, in school safety. So there's folks in here that have all kinds of lived experience, expertise, professional experience to bring to the conversation, to network, to learn together, so that everybody can return back to their New England schools and communities, and actually further beyond. We have 15 other states as well as Canada in attendance today to make sure they're safe and sound. We love Burlington Police. One of the wonderful things about working in the New England area is the strong police partnerships in school safety. So we have a lot of great relationships with our local PDs like Burlington that are very proactive, very engaged with our schools, our school leaders, our students, our parents, and the larger community to ensure that our kids are getting what they need, that our educators are getting what they need, that programs are in place, the right people are in place, and that we're constantly working to rethink school safety together.
It's been a tremendous event. It's a great opportunity to partner with Safe and Sound Schools, to have stakeholders from the school communities, police departments, to come and learn from past tragedies and try to plan better for the future.
Until next time, this is Chris Flaherty for BNEWS Weekly.
There's now a 6th pole on the town common in the space reserved for honoring our veterans, and it's all thanks to veterans themselves. Sydney Bowles has more.
You may have noticed some unusual activity on the town common recently. That was the town's veteran community installing a new flagpole for the latest branch of the American military, Space Force.
I mean, I think that if you were to ask a lot of people, they wouldn't know that the Space Force was a branch. But this was brought around by veterans asking, hey, when are we adding this flag? I think it's very important to the veterans in the community, and that's why they wanted to get it done.
Art Enos was the driving force behind creating the veterans section on the Common and has been coordinating the addition of the new flag.
Started it about almost 15 years ago now. We started in phases. We started with the American flagpole, and then I moved on to putting the memorial wall in the 5 service flags. And of course now, because we now have the Space Force, we're going to be probably one of the first towns anywhere that actually will honor the Space Force now with a flagpole in a veterans section.
This project is 100% veteran funded, so no tax-paying dollars are going towards this, and we pride ourselves in that.
For BNEWS Weekly, I'm Sydney Bowles.
Shawshene Valley Technical School is leaning into its welding curriculum thanks to a $1 million grant from the State Skills Capital Lab Modernization Initiative. Shawshene is one of 18 vocational schools to receive the grant, which aims to provide schools with ultra-modern equipment. Shawshene plans to use the funding to remodel its metal fabrication and joining shop to better serve current curriculum needs and bring more students into the program, as well as general aesthetic upgrades to the space. Burlington artists of the stage are putting on a new production. This one is called Kodachrome. Robert Paris takes us there.
Over at the Park Playhouse, the Burlington Players are getting ready for their fall production of Kodachrome by Adam Simkowitz.
The play is narrated by Suzanne the photographer, and she is taking us through these locations to meet various people who she quite often refers to as their professions or their identities rather than their names. So we meet a mystery novelist and a history professor who are married to each other, a young man and a young woman who are just falling in love, a librarian who's trying to figure out if she's ready to take a chance on something, and a hardware store owner who's dealing with his own issues. And all of these people are trying to figure out what comes next for them. It's about their relationships. Primarily, it's about love relationships in various states. You know, people who are about to break up, people who are just starting out, people who are learning how to cope with grief or loss or someone who doesn't return their love. And what's lovely about the play to me is how very gentle and human all of that is, and it's so relatable.
Actress Katie Gluck is the main protagonist in the show. She hopes this production gives audience members a sense of human connection in our everyday lives.
I love this play. It's not one of the ones that you see very often, and so it's really fun to be able to dive into it. I think audiences will really love it because they will, no matter who you are, you will recognize yourself in this play. This play has something for everybody. It's funny, it's romantic, it's tender, it's just beautifully done. And so I think everyone will really like it. And it's short, so it makes for a nice night out with dinner and drinks.
See it for yourself. For tickets and showtimes, go to burlingtonplayers.com. From the set of Kodachrome, I'm Robert Paris for BNews Weekly.
Halloween may be over, but we couldn't resist sharing one final story from the spookiest time of year. Robert Paris paid a visit to a historical haunt that opened its doors on the 31st.
The light! It burns! But not for me, because it is Halloween night, and on Halloween night, the West School opens here on Bedford Street. I spoke with a couple of the organizers from the Burlington Historical Society, and we got to talk to kids about what their favorite candy was. Let's go check it out. Boys and ghouls alike stop by the West School on All Hallows Eve to look inside of the classroom and get some delectable treats.
Would look for volunteers if anybody wanted to come over and and enjoy the Halloween festivities, and with the kids coming in and sitting at the desks, and they love to come back to the old schoolhouse. So.
And they were all amazed. You know, we asked them, well, if you look around, what's not here that's in your school? They say things like the library, the cafeteria. Yeah. And I said, what about something else that's a lot more necessary? And then we talk about outhouses, and no electricity, no water. We have some of the lanterns in the window that were oil lanterns that were lit with a wick, and that was the light.
Joyce and Sandy love seeing people of all ages come by Bedford Street to this historic site.
We have cider, and we have little munchkins and candy to give out to the kids when they come. Some of the things in the back are the styrofoam heads with the hats on. That sort of depicts what people might have worn when they came to school, the kids, you know, the hats.
Now to the most important question. Favorite candy?
I probably would like the Snicker.
Yeah, those are
good. I'd have to say that's mine too, Snickers. Yeah. I like Snickers all year round, not just at Halloween.
Probably Sour Patch.
Sour Patch? I don't know. Because they're really chewy. Oh, I know.
Dark chocolate almond joy.
Sour Patch. Full size candy bars.
Sour Patch and Nerds.
I really don't care. There's these thing called arrows, and they're from Canada. Gummies.
Yeah, gummies.
And he's the king of gummies.
Yeah, I'm the gummy king. Everyone in my class called me the gummy king. Milky Ways.
From the West School on Bedford Street, I'm Robert Paris.
Happy Halloween!
It may have been unseasonably warm lately, but colder weather certainly is still on the way at some point. And the Burlington Public School community is making sure everyone in the school system has the warm weather clothes they need. Sydney Bowles has more.
Whether you need new jeans, a winter coat, a toothbrush, or a backpack, the Cambridge Street Closet can provide.
The Cambridge Street Closet is a community closet full of clothes, the gently used clothes, shoes, and brand new toiletries that can be accessed by anybody in the community, the BPS community, so students and their family members.
Founded in January of 2023, the closet is rounding out its second year in the high school.
I know that the word is spreading because we're being contacted by people in the community, which is great.
With cold weather approaching, winter brings new needs to the closet.
Hats, gloves, mittens, and shoes, boots, and of course, we're always looking for toiletries. We tend to run out of that quickly. The unopened, unused bottles of shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, toothbrushes, hairbrushes. Those are stuff we're always looking for. The feminine products, socks is something that we're always looking for. And then, of course, sweatshirts or sweatpants and stuff like that. In Burlington, I believe that all the educators and all the staff that work in the Burlington public school community want to help others, and that's definitely why we go into education. We want to help students, but we also want to help their families, because when we help their families make their lives easier, then the students' lives can be a little bit easier. So having the Cambridge Street Closet shows families that we do care and we're here for them.
Students or BPS families who want to schedule an appointment, or anyone looking to donate clothes or supplies, can reach out to Renee at daisy@bpsk12.org. For BNEWS Weekly, I'm Sydney Bowles.
The fall sports season is winding down for many of our athletes here in town. Let's go to Juliana McGrain for the latest.
Hey everyone, I'm Juliana McGrain, and this is your weekly sports report. Red Devils football finished the regular season with a win against Watertown. We go to the highlights.
The senior night festivities took place on Varsity Field for Red Devil football, marching band, and the cheerleaders for the final regular season game against the Watertown Red Raiders. Scoring, there was a lot of scoring. In the first quarter, running back JT Doherty had a 26-yard rushing touchdown and a successful two-point conversion, 8-0, for the remainder of the quarter. Burlington scored 2 more touchdowns in the second quarter. This time, it was the Garrier-Brooks connection. The first was from 21 yards out, extra point no good. The second was from 9 yards out, and the Devils offense failed the two-point conversion, making the score 20-0 at half. Late in the third quarter, the Devils kept it going with Doherty's second touchdown of the night from a yard out. 26-0, extra point no good. The score remained the same until the fourth quarter, when Garrier threw to Matt Conti from a yard out. 33-0 after the successful extra point. With the regular season complete, the Devils move on to the first round of the playoffs, which will be at home against Wayland on November 8th. Both teams finished the regular season at 7-1. Anthony Mato spoke with Garrier, Doherty, and Brooks on the upcoming playoffs.
Same mentality, just coming to practice with a purpose every day, get better. You know, this is serious. We're playing real competition now, so you know we got to be prepared.
Yeah, so we've been preaching all year is we're playing against ourselves, and it's not really about who we're playing. So we got to work as hard as we can, make ourselves better in practice.
Last year we were the 14th seed coming against Norwood, the 5th seed, and we beat them. You know, so we can't take any team lightly.
Burlington finished second in the Middlesex League standings after Stoneham. Burlington will be at home against Wayland for the first round of the playoffs. That game will be a battle. Wayland has a strong season and stands at 7-1. Dates and highlights for the game will be in next week's report. 8 members of the Woburn and Burlington swim team competed at North Sectionals last weekend. Riley McCarthy got 4th place in the 100-meter backstroke. More details on scores and records at bcattv.org. The team will be at the state championships on November 10th. We'll have updates next week. The BHS cross-country team competed at Mooney Invitational last weekend. Top finishers from the race include Alexis Alay Lopez, Beckett Baldwin, Aria Belsara. You can check out the full results at the following website. The D2 Cross Country Championship will take place this weekend, and we'll have updates next week. The girls' field hockey season came to an end after a 6-0 loss to Neshoba Regional in the first round of the playoffs. 11 seniors will be graduating next spring. Girls volleyball had a 3-1 win against Notre Dame of Hingham last week in the first round of the playoffs. But sadly, this team season came to an abrupt halt after a 3-0 loss to Oliver Ames of Easton in the Sweet 16. There were still some exciting achievements. Karina Boyajev broke a record with 528 receptions in one season. The record was previously 500 receptions and was held by Maddie Mezodorf of the class of 2019. 5 seniors from the sport are graduating next spring. We wish them the best in their futures. For more Red Devil action, check out our sports section at bcattv.org/sports. Follow us on X at BNEWS Sports. That's all for this week. I'm Julianne McGrain. Back to you in the studio.
Our unseasonable weather continues. Let's turn to Peter Brown for a look at the weather, and stay tuned for your community calendar with Gretchen Carey.
Well, hello everyone, this is Peter Brown. They'll get your weather for the next 7 days. Here we are heading in towards the second full week of November. I know it's hard to believe that we are only a couple of weeks away from Thanksgiving. And of course, as we've been heading through November, we have been having some extraordinary weather here in the Burlington area. Very warm out there, extremely dry. Punctuated here and there with some chilly times. Looks like our past few weekends have been the chilly times that we've been having over the past month or so, but once we've been getting into the work week, those temperatures have just been rebounding, and it was extremely warm here in the Burlington area over the past week or so. Temperatures again in the 70s to near 80, and looks like that's going to kind of cool down a little bit as we go through this period. Doesn't look like we're going to see those temperatures quite that high, but still staying well above average. As we started our period on Friday, we should be seeing temperatures at this time of the year only in the mid-50s. We're going to be probably about 5 to 7 degrees warmer than that. Temperatures probably in the low 60s, so really pleasant out there again. And as we get in towards the end of the period and towards next Thursday, we should be seeing temperatures, again, at this time of the year by the time we get into the middle of November in the low 50s. And again, I think by the time we get to the end of next week, we're going to be seeing temperatures maybe 10 to 15 degrees above average again. As we go ahead and take a look at the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us in terms of temperature and precipitation over the next 7 to 10 days, and looking at our temperature map, again, expecting us to have a very good chance of above average temperatures, and looking at our precipitation chances, they're looking for us to have average precipitation. We're going to take a look at that. That might hinge on a little bit of shower activity we get in here on Sunday into Monday, and then maybe again a little bit as we get towards the end of the period. But again, unfortunately, no drought-busting rains coming up. And right here in the Burlington area right now, it is incredibly dry out there. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at those 7 days of weather coming up. And again, just about almost every day, what you see is what you get again here, folks. Beautiful weekend again, wall-to-wall sunshine, temperatures in the Low 60s on Friday, then chilling down a little bit on Saturday, down into the mid-50s before they rebound again on Sunday ahead of maybe some shower activity coming into the Burlington area. And again, unfortunately, doesn't look like that's going to be amounting to much. Again, that shower activity might stick around with some cloudier conditions on Monday with temperatures in the mid-60s. Another brief cool down on Tuesday as the sun comes back into the 50s. But thereafter, it looks like as we get in towards Thursday, it looks like our temperatures might be trying to make it again near 70 with maybe some showers out there and maybe a little bit more of a humid feel to the air. So anything but fall-like around here in the Burlington area again for the next 7 to 10 days. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
Hi, I'm Amy Poehler, and you're watching BCAT. Go Red Devils.
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your Community Calendar. On November 14th from 7 to 8 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a Zoom event called Vikings on the Charles with Gloria Palazzati-Grice. To register and for more information, go to the library website. On November 23rd at 8 a.m., the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department will be having a 5K turkey trot at BHS. For more information and to register, go to the following website. Through January 2nd, People Helping People will be having their Capital Grill $1,000 gift card raffle. Tickets are available at a Whole Bunch of Flowers Market, Mirandy's Barbershop, or at the following website. The drawing will be held on January 2nd, 2025. For more community calendar events, go to bcattv.org, burlingtonpubliclibrary.org, and burlingtonrecreation.org. I'm Gretchen Carey, and that was your Community Calendar.
As we do each week, we're finishing up with a photo sent in by a member of the community. Christina Nikitas shared this one, a beautiful fall day on the beach in Gloucester. Thank you, Christina. If you have a photo you'd like to see featured here, email it to us at bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. That's our program. Thank you for tuning in. I'll leave you with some photos from the football team's recent senior night where they sent off their graduating athletes in style. Gwyneth McNamee took these pictures. As always, I'm your host, Phil Gallagher, and I'll see you again here next week.